Welcome to another edition of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. We're coming to you from a very hot SoCal. It's supposed to be about 102 today. Whew. Anyway, we never cease to bring you the show no matter what the weather. So anyway, we're here with you, and we're going to be talking about what most people are talking about, and that's the tragedy that went on in Orlando, Florida. I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and let's take a look at a couple of things as we get into this little adventure here. It sort of worries me on the political front that these Democrats in their party, as well as the Republicans in their party, are all tangled up like a ball of yarn on this thing. It is my feeling, and I don't know if others would join in with me, that's your choice, but it is my feeling that these two parties, these two groups of idiots, are the degradation of this nation, because they don't seem to care about the people. They care about their policy. They care about their philosophy. And that's all they care about. Naturally, when the horrid occurrence happened, you would expect oh bastard to jump on his no guns deal, which is total lunacy. We have some of the toughest gun laws in this country that you can think of. Other countries look at our gun laws and they model them. I mean, what more can you do except just totally take everybody's guns away, which I would imagine he wants to do. He keeps chomping on that, but he says nothing about the mental health issues that play into this tragic situation. You look at this nut, Mateen. He was troubled as a child, in school. In first grade, he was beating up kids and hollering at people and doing all sorts of injurious things. So you look at where he came from. We'll get more into that in a minute. But these politicians, especially old bastard, they don't seem to understand what this is all about. If you are born to a certain group of folk that have a proclivity to violence, then good chances are you're going to be violent too. And as far as these, folks from the Middle East or Muslims or what have you, they have a tendency to be very violent. They have a tendency to be very strange. And so that brings forth people like Donald Trump, who says they perhaps should be banned from coming into our country. Boy, what a firestorm that caused. Well, that puts me in a very scary position as to what could occur in this country should we need to actually be in a we-they situation. Aside from the government screwing us over, I am really taken aback as to how the American people, or at least some of them, can screw us over just as much. Now, in the term of these muzzies, I don't understand the urgency to get behind a people that have shown us nothing but their violent side. From the Twin Towers on up to where we are now, I've seen nothing but basic violence from these folks. There is the Boston bombing, where there was a loss of life. There was San Bernardino, where there was a loss of life. Now Orlando, Florida, where there's a loss of life. You hear of them going to Syria and coming back, and then there are problems that ensue. And we won't even get into the loss of life that has been laid at their doorstep all around the world. Now, if I could see them coming up with a low-cost housing projects going on all over the country, or some kind of medical research where they're trying to cure cancer or any other injurious disease for American people, or if they were trying to get into agriculture and come up with a way to, help starving people all over the world and in this country. I don't see that. Now, they will build mosques and cultural centers and things of that sort, halal food stores to suit their needs and their purposes. But I have yet to see, I'm not saying that there's none out there. It's just that hasn't been brought to my attention. But all of the terrible stuff comes to the forefront in the news media. And that in and of itself makes me not want to even try to scratch the surface to see if there's any good in them. Although I know that there is some good in some of them. Everybody has some good in them. But whether or not you want to work that hard is a different story, especially when there are murderous intentions, looming ever present. Now, let's talk about the news media. The good old news media. Yeah. I have never seen a news media so kind to a criminal before in my life. They got the story wrong. Even the French and the German news media that I quite often watch got the numbers right. 49 dead. Not 50, 49. The American news media finally stepped up off that 50 to 49. But they were so articulate, so astute in finalizing what kind of gun the man used. Oh, it was not an AK-47. It was some other kind of gun. Is that really important? The 49 people are nevertheless dead. So I think what kind of gun he used is irrelevant. The fact that he used it is the main story. And Donald Trump supposedly said that this bastard was born in Afghanistan. Oh, no. He was born right there in New York. He's American. He's born in New York, right? Very close to where Donald Trump was born. Let's get something straight. I don't care how they want to spin it, how they want to turn it, how they wish to neatly place it. Omar Mateen is an Afghanistani, or however you say their country's name. He was born to both Afghanistan parents. The fact that he was born in New York, I don't care about. He's an Afghanistani. If you take a dog from the United States, a pregnant female dog from the United States, and you take that dog to Egypt, and the dog gives birth to puppies, do they turn to cats? No, they were born to a dog, so that makes that puppy a dog. He was born to Afghanistan parents. He was raised in the Afghanistan way, in Muslim way, learning all the Sharia law and all of the doctrines and what have you that they preach and proclaim. That makes him a Muslim. That makes him an Afghanistani. We need to stop mixing oranges with apples. As a rule, American people don't go around blowing away 50 or 49 people. As a rule, American people don't practice Sharia law and would therefore consider homosexuality an abomination to the fact that they would go into a place and blow away 49 people. As a rule, American people, or at least the ones I knew, don't operate that way. But now I'm scared to death because I don't know where American people, or a lot of them, where their loyalties lie. They are so behind a murderous group, potentially murderous group, that it's not even funny. What is the mad dash for having Muslims in this country? Donald Trump wants to ban them. And there's a lot of support for the man. Why are they so needed in this country? You'd think they were inlaid with gold or something. Time after time. Mass murder, mass shooting, suicide bombing, car bombs, all at their hands. Paris, they're screwing up the performances and the things there. Went to 3 places, wreaking havoc. People out in San Bernardino trying to work for a living, went in there and wreaked havoc. People in Florida trying to have a good time and blow off a little steam, went in there and wreaked havoc. And yet you still beat on the tom-toms for us to have them in our country. I don't get it. And in my estimation, that makes you a very dangerous person, that you'd want to support something like this, that you would get your brain all mixed up in it so that you embrace these people. I don't get that. Now, our Constitution needs a serious look over. That factor that if these bastards come over here pregnant and ready to pop, drop that little bastard in our country, that automatically makes him an American citizen, is balderdash. That needs to be eradicated from the Constitution and never brought back in. You come over to this country, you drop that little bastard, you take him with you because he's your property. He does not belong to the United States. Wherever you came from, he is a citizen of your country. You just happen to be in ours when your balloon popped. Get that out of our Constitution. It is hurting us, literally and physically. Another thing that needs to go is this refugee thing. We've got too many of these opportunistic bastards in our country, and they're killing us because it's on our books. It's within our Constitution, our set of rules by which we go by. And if you pitch a conniption about them being here, they bang you over the head with it. It needs to be taken out, out, out. No more of that garbage in our Constitution. Our Constitution needs to be combed thoroughly, and anything in there that affects the way we do our daily business and that is in favor of anyone trying to come in and hurt this country or its people needs to be eradicated, expunged, thrown away, taken out, scooped away, whatever terminology you wish to use. It is killing us, literally. This government of ours is a joke. I don't know how many times I have to say that. It is a joke. I was looking at telly the other day and I saw something that was totally disgusting. You know, McDonald's, Mickey D's, they sell the McFlurries, right? Well, they're not going to be selling them anymore because M&M Mars, the maker of M&Ms and, you know, Snickers and all these other nice little candy treats that we love and eat from time to time, has stopped selling them to McDonald's, so therefore they can't make the McFlurries. Why? Because I guess some special interest group and some governmental muckety-muck has determined that we are eating too much sugar. I did not elect you idiots to go to Washington to determine I eat too much sugar, or I eat too much salt, or I eat too much bread, or I shouldn't have a drink of beer, or I shouldn't have a bottle of Gatorade, or what have you. That's not what you're there for. You're there to make sure that our American lives are preserved, our American values are preserved, our American veterans are preserved, our American troops have the stuff they need to get what they get the job done they need to have done. You're there to make sure that we have decent and fair priced housing. I could go on about what you're there for, but you strain at the gnat and you swallow the camel because you're stupid. Why don't you want us to have the sugar or the salt or the bread or the meat or the fish or the eggs? Are you trying to save that for your precious and coveted foreigners as well? Yeah, there goes an ambulance or a siren or something, probably looking for these damn foreigners. It is ridiculous by the way this government acts. People like Elizabeth Warren, dirtbag. Bitchery Clinton, dirtbag. Ryan, what is it? Paul Ryan, dirtbag. And that Lindsey Graham, ooh, I'd like to shake him up like a malted milk, dirtbag. All of them that are in these governmental positions are nothing more than dirtbags. Idiotic dirtbags. They don't care about our country. They just don't care. They want to inundate it with foreigners, with people that, one, don't belong here. Two, have no allegiance to this country. Three, want to help destroy this country, if not by actual demonic or physical horrid means like blowing 49 people away or taking out 2 buildings or what have you, but they can destroy it from within economically, and that's happening each and every day. Oh, we can't give Social Security or disabled people benefits or COLA. We just don't have the money, but yet they can fund everything that slithers across the damn border. It's time to wake up, people. What do you want? Do you want to die here? Do you want to get squeezed and pushed off your own land? Not only by the government, but also by these few idiot Americans who have sided with those who want to destroy us. I look at this Trump fella, and in a way I feel sorry for him, because he's way out there in left field by himself. I would like to think that there are many Americans behind him. Somebody needs to be behind him because the man speaks truth. I don't know where you came from, but I don't like people coming around trying to hurt me. If they're so peaceful and they're so extreme and kind, why aren't they extremely peaceful and kind? Was it kind for this guy to go in and extremely kill 49 people? And then you sit up and you coddle him. Oh, it wasn't an AK-47. It was this kind of gun. Oh, he's not a foreigner. He's born in New York. News media is stupid. Also, like I said, there's only 2 that I, would give any credence, and that's Gwen Ifill and Judy Woodruff of PBS, the News Hour. The other ones, forget it. I would basically rather look at the German DW news media and France 24, I believe it is, with Mark Owen. They had the numbers right. It's 49 dead, not 50. And then 3 days later, American news media corrected it. Where are we going as a country? Where are we going as a divided people? The news media wants to blow it all out of proportion about it was the homosexual community that was terrorized. It was people that were terrorized. It was people that were murdered. You are a person first. And then whatever else you are, you're that. But you're a person. You're a human being first. I don't know why in this country we have to be so inept at labeling people and being so flamboyant about everything. 49 people were slaughtered, murdered. Would it have been any less painful had the people been heterosexual? Where are we going as a country? Where are we going as a society? Where are we going in as much as you can see a raging fire, but you're still willing to walk through it without flame retardant materials on your body? That's what we're doing. Every time you say, we embrace immigrants, we embrace refugees. That's what you're saying because you don't know what you're embracing. We welcome them. Do you honestly know what you're welcoming? I think not. Zach, you got something?
As usual, I agree with the very true and concise logic you have. I guess I'll be following the same topics in the order you spoke of. About this gun control, as I said in the previous show, if your motto or some people's sayings is guns don't kill people, people kill people, then the problem isn't in controlling the guns, because the people are the problem. So, like if you can call any kind of number, go on a black market website and have an unmarked van meet you somewhere, it doesn't matter if you have control on the guns. People will get their guns and they will do the crazy stuff that they're going to do, And the stupid media is speaking about the different type of gun. They've corrected themselves about 3 times now. And in all fairness, what does it matter what type of gun it is? It's not worth a hill of beans, because that's not going to bring the people back to life. It's not going to stop what happened from actually already having happened. And speaking of the person that made that happen, or the bastard that made that happen, excuse me, it like you said, it doesn't really matter if he was born here, and they're talking about homegrown terror. It doesn't matter if it's homegrown or from overseas. It is terror, period, and it's not needed, and it's terrible. If he's comes from Afghan and he comes over and kills people, what would be the difference if he was born here from Afghan parents? He's got Afghanistani blood. That means he's an Afghan. I don't care if he's born in America. He's not an American when he's got that kind of blood, that kind of murderous, intentions in his heart. To make any kind of sense. And then, like you were saying before, all they are bad news. They're crazy, and they do nasty things with animals, and marry kids way too young, and rape things, and have all these kind of weird religions, and try to convince everybody to switch over to their way of thinking. And if they don't, deaf to those people. A long time ago, about 15 years ago, when I was watching news media, it finally clicked after having watched it for so long. And I started saying, actually, it's really good to actually have some positive news for once. Maybe a channel that would show the good news about maybe people being good Samaritans, people donating money to help a good cause, because everything you see on media, and it's been ever since those 15 years and before, continued and gotten worse. They always have some kind of bad news. Someone's ran over, someone's killed, someone's hurt a dog, someone's had a hit and run, someone's put something on fire. It's always bad. And I said that to say this: you never see any good news about Muzzies. You never see them donating money to a good cause. You never see a Muzzy saving someone's life from a burning building. You never see any kind of positive stuff. Every time you hear about them, it's always something terrible, or they're claiming that that's not how they are, and they stand with the people, which we don't want you standing with us, because you're guilty by association. We don't want any kind of Muzzies standing with us. And I don't get why they want them here in the first place, based on everything I just said about that. And speaking of having them here anyway, this thing on the Lady Liberty in New York, where it says, "Bring us your tired, you're poor, you're sick, and you're hungry." This may sound kind of crass, and don't mistake it for me being unappreciative of what the foreigners that did come over here because of that saying did for us, building the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge and all the wonderful things they did for us. Don't think I'm thinking down upon them by saying that, but I do say that about this, the tired, poor, sick, and hungry thing, and also about the anchor babies and allowing refugees to be here. Those 3 things, I say that if the forefathers had enough foresight to just keep their own country, since they just found it, trying to get away from the kings and queens and the way they can't talk against them and cut off their head. That's why you told me they were coming and found America. If they were to just have the mindset of, we got away from that, we don't need any foreigners' help because we have enough problems with them, let's take care of our own. Every tub has to sit on its own bottom. Take care of our own people. Don't put anything about bringing anybody over here. It might take us longer to build the country up. It might be a little bit slower to do the things we actually did with their help. But initially, if they had have thought that way and not had that crap in the Constitution or on Lady Liberty, then we might be in a better shape now, because they would have had the same mindset that China has. How many foreigners do you see in China? Not very many to none. It's China takes care of their Chinese. You need to have your own country taking care of your own people. We might not be in as much debt. We might not have done people voting for people that we have in office right now that aren't helping the country. They're just trying to help the Muzzies, in their own way. He's trying to help them build their mosque that we supposedly denied and everything. Americans first, and this candy crap, that's the same damn thing. We don't need no big brother looking out for us. We need to be able to take care of our own big brother, fix the economy. We already had enough of the government supposedly looking out for us when they're actually only out for themselves. All they want to do is make their own pockets bigger. They've never had Americans on their agenda, as far in a positive way. And I also agree with the journalists you mentioned, Judy Woodruff and Gwen Ifill. Those are very top-notch journalists. A lot of morals they have, and they're not biased on anything. They don't swing one way toward Democratic stuff and talk against Republicans. They are open-minded, and they have both sides. They listen to both sides. And I respect that versus the American news. As you said, it took them about 4 days to get the number right and everything like that. And this LGBTQ stuff, if you notice the shows we've been doing about it, this is the first time we've actually mentioned that phrase LGBTQ. Because in essence, as we both believe, that's why we didn't say anything about it until now, that these were just people that got killed. They're people first. They're human beings. They have red blood like every other red blood, unless you have that disease where you have green. And it's human beings first that have family that cares for them, loves for them. And, not to be against, people and who they are, their decisions are their decisions. I respect that. But as you and I were speaking about earlier, if they weren't so flamboyant about it and doing rallies about it and all that kind of stuff, then they wouldn't be bringing the attention to them in order to have stupid, homophobic soldiers saying, come into a gay bar near you holding a gun, and other people threatening their community because of this. If they try to keep things on the down low, if you don't want the business, don't advertise, it might be a little bit safer, because you already are putting a target on your head by being out there and being so flamboyant with it. Not that you should, as that kind of person, have to hide who you are. That's not right either, but don't be so flamboyant about it. You might live a little bit longer. And that's about all I have to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say.
Well, I don't get where people's mindset is, and that's what's so frightening, because when you're in a country, I just want to bring Australia into it because somebody mentioned how they have really strict gun laws and what have you, but they also have something else. It's a wonderful saying and philosophy by which they live, that you never leave your mates behind. You always support your mates. How could any person that calls himself an American, and I'm saying an American general, okay, I can't speak. This stuff is really getting to me. You're an American generationally 50 million times removed. How can you toot the horn, wave the flag, eat the apple pie, eat the hot dogs, and then side with somebody who is a foreigner from another country, and they don't have your same views, ideals, teachings, what have you? It boggles my mind. And if push came to a great shove, who would you support? Would you support a fellow American, or would you pick up the tom-toms and start beating them for these foreigners? You look at Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is in strife right now financially, and is a commonwealth of the United States. They're part of us. The Puerto Rican people need our help, but they're being denied. But you let 100,000, 1 million, maybe more Syrians, Muslim refugees into our country and willfully, proudly take care of them, while our people in Puerto Rico, beautiful little country are suffering. What kind of nation is this? Join us next time for the Phil Taylor Jones Show. Thank you for being with us. Bye-bye.